going to explain about gelatin and pectin.
And we are from Group 3. I'm Graciela Alexander.
I'm Maria Margareta.
I'm Sharon Valencia.
And I'm Valentina Rosali.
So, what is gelatin and what is pectin? Gelatin. It's a water-soluble protein extract from animal connective tissue. Most are extracted from pig skin and some are extracted from cattle bones and hides. And gelatin is not found in any vegetable source. Pectin. It's similar like vegetable gums. It is carbohydrate that consists of molecules in long chains and present in many fruits, especially unripe fruits, and pectin can absorb water, which is useful for thickening or gelling liquid. This is how sheet gelatin looks like, and this is how powder pectin looks like.
Composition. Gelatin. Most gelatin composition basically made from cattle bones, cattle hide, and pig skin, but some also including poultry and fish. The process of making the gelatin, the pig skin is soaked in cold acid to produce rope-like protein fiber called collagen. Then the pig skin is diluted in water so to extract the gelatin from the pig skin. Pectin. Pectin is generally a carbohydrate that is found naturally in fruit and it has clean flavor. Pectin will thicken, and in the presence of acid and high amount of sugar, it will gel.
Process of making pectin homemade. First, in a large boiler, boil 3 kg of chopped underripe green apples in 10 cups of water until tender. 2. Once apples are falling apart, drain. 3. Drain again using cheesecloth or other fine strainer. 4. Let it sit for several hours or even overnight to get the most juice as possible. 5. Once the liquid is all drained, cook until only half the amount of liquid in a pot. 6. Pour pectin into sterilized jars. Place lid that have been soaked in hot water, not boiling, on the jar. Last but not the least, process in water baths for 10 minutes, chill for 3 to 4 days, and ready to use to make jams and jellies. Process of making gelatin. Steps. 1. Inspection and cutting. When the animal's parts arrive at the food processing plant, they are inspected for quality, rodent parts are discharged, then the bones, tissues, and skins are loaded into chopping machines that cut the parts into small pieces of about 12.7 cm in diameter. 2. Degrazing and roasting. The animal's parts are passed under high-pressure water sprays to wash away debris. They are then degreased by soaking them in hot water to reduce the fat content to about 2%. A conveyor belt moves the degreases, bones, and skin to an industrial dryer where they are roasted for approximately 30 minutes at about 100 degrees Celsius. 3. Acids and alkali treatment. The animal's parts are soaked in fat of lime or some other type of acid or alkali for approximately 5 days. This process removes most of the minerals and bacteria and facilitates the release of collagen. 4. Boiling. The piece of bones, tissue, and skins are loaded into a large aluminum extractor and boiled in distilled water. 5. Evaporating and grinding. From the extractor, the liquid is piped through filters to separate out bits of bone, tissue, and skin that are still attached. From the filters, the liquid is piped into evaporators machine that separate the liquid from the solid gelatin. Then the liquid is piped out and discharged. The gelatin is passed through machines that press into sheets. Depending on the final application, the gelatin sheets are passed through a grinder that reduces them to a fine powder. 6. Flavoring and coloring. If the gelatin is to be used by the food industry, sweeteners, flavorings, and coloring may be added at this point. Preset amount of these additives are thoroughly mixed into the powdered gelatin. 7. Packaging. The packaging process is automated with preset amount of gelatin poured into overhead funnels through which the gelatin flows down into bags made of either polypropylene or multiply paper. The bags are then vacuumed and sealed.
Gelatin is made by using a highly modern, complicated process, most of which takes place in a so-called closed system, comprising large stainless steel vessels with many pipes, tubes, and other equipment. To be able to understand this better, let's make some gelatin ourselves. First of all, we need some starting material. A basic raw material, for example, a piece of pork belly. We now cut off the rind. This contains the collagen that gelatin is made of. Collagen protein is contained in pig skin, but also in human skin. And this is exactly what we need to make gelatin. So, how do we get the collagen out of this rind? We first chop it up into pieces of about 3 millimeters in size and place these in water. Now, acid is added to this soup to render the collagen soluble. We simply use vinegar for this purpose. This mixture is then warmed a number of times at increasing temperatures. This causes the collagen to dissolve better in the water. But it is still a turbid solution. The warming process plus the added acid cause 3 layers to be formed. The bottom layer consists of solids, the middle layer is the acid solution, and the thin upper layer is fat. The middle layer is the important one though. The fat and solid components are removed using a centrifuge, and the collagen solution moves on. This process is called extraction. Now a complicated purification process begins, as there are still some tiny particles left in the solution that render it turbid. To get a clear gelatin solution, this turbid liquid is then filtered. This process takes place in the factory using extremely fine filters. So-called ceramic microfilters are employed for this purpose. Under enormous pressure, the collagen solution is passed through the filters with their tiny pores. These are so fine they cannot be seen by the naked eye. A clear solution comes out the other end. The total filtration distance covered is about 3,000 meters. However, the purification process is still not complete. There are still some salts in the solution, and the water also has to be removed. This is when the solution is run through these huge vessels. These are filled with tiny beads that look a little like brown sugar. They are, however, made of synthetic resin. When the collagen solution passes through these, the salts contained adhere to the beads. The solution is now pumped through these long stainless steel pipes and then heated in these huge tanks until the water has evaporated off. From every 2 liters or so of collagen solution, only about 200 milliliters of honey-like concentrate remains. This process is known as concentration. Now, the gelatin is briefly heated in order to kill off any remaining germs and to stabilize the gelatin for storage. The honey-like concentrate is now cooled down and is pressed through a perforated disc. So-called gelatin noodles are produced here. They fall onto a conveyor belt to dry slowly. Warm, sterile air is then used to gently evaporate the residual water from the noodles. These gelatin spaghetti exit from the other side of the dryer and are then chopped and milled to powder. This powder is then filled into 1,000 kilogram big bags for storage. Each customer who orders gelatin for use in his own products has, of course, certain requirements that have to be fulfilled by the gelatin. And especially, he will always wish to be able to reorder exactly the same time. Thus, there is no standard gelatin. Every customer gets his own tailor-made Gelita gelatin. And they use it
Types of pectin. There are powder pectin and liquid pectin. In general, there are two types of pectin, which are high methyl pectin and low methyl pectin. High methyl pectin requires a significant amount of sugar to gel properly. Low methyl pectin requires low amount of sugar to be gelled. Types of gelatin. Isinglass, carrageen, agar, and pectin. Isinglass is a type of gelatin extracted from the air bladders of certain fish, particularly sturgeon, but is rarely used these days. Carrageen, also known as Irish moss, is a gelatinous thickening agent derived from seaweed which grows off the coast of Ireland. Agar, also known as agar-agar, is a dry Japanese seaweed sold in blocks, powder, and strand which are used as a setting agent. Agar has a stronger setting properties than gelatin. Pectin occurs naturally in fruits and vegetables and is used in the preparation of jams, jellies, and preservatives. Gelatin can also be extracted from fish bones. There's two types of gelatin. Gelatin powder is a gelatin that has been dried and broken up into individual grains, which has the advantage of dispersing more easily throughout a dish. It is readily available in your local supermarkets. Sheets gelatin, also called leaf gelatin, is made from gelatin that is dried in a thin flat pieces. The sheet dissolves more slowly than the granulated form, but there is no chance of undissolved granulated in the dish.
Gelatin comes in either leaf or powdered form. To use powdered gelatin, put the desired amount into a small bowl or ramekin with double the amount of cold liquid and leave it for 5 minutes. This is called sponging. This can be water or liquid from your recipe, such as milk, cream, or juice. As a general rule, 1 tablespoon of powdered gelatin will softly set 570 milliliters of liquid. Now the recipe will usually say to stir the sponge gelatin into warm liquid to dissolve, or put the bowl into a pan of barely simmering water for 5 minutes until it's completely liquid and clear of granules before stirring into the main mixture. Leaf gelatin comes in different sizes and strengths, so it's always best to buy the recommended brand if one is stated in the recipe. Leaf gelatin is always soaked in cold water first for 5 minutes. Once soaked, remove from the water and squeeze it gently. Now the recipe will usually say to stir the soaked gelatin into warm liquid to dissolve it, or your soaked gelatin should be put into a small bowl or ramekin over barely simmering water, as with the powdered gelatin, and leave it for 5 minutes until the liquid has cleared before using. Never overheat your gelatin or it won't set. To set alcohol or cream, levels will vary, so always follow the recipe instructions.
Differences. Gelatin. First, the raw material is from animal. Second, available in powder and sheets. Third, work in hot water. And the last one, does not require sugar to gel. Differences. Pectin. First, the raw material is from fruit. Second, available in powder and liquid. Third, work in both cold and hot water. And the last one, requires sugar to gel.
Function of gelatin and pectin. Gelatin is used in many ways for baking. First, is used to thicken puddings, ice creams, marshmallow, yogurt, gummy candies, and fruit gelatin desserts. Gelatin also can be used as decoration for cakes. It can duplicate the fake plastic that can be formed into models of imagination. Third, gelatin can replace the function of eggs, so it can be used in butter. Function of pectin. First, pectin is used as thickening agent. Second, It can use to make jams. Third, pectin also can use in mirror glazes and as jelly's bakery filling. Last but not least, pectin can be used in fruit confectionery.
Thank you for watching.
We hope you learned a lot about gelatin and pectin from this video.
Bye bye.